Welcome to Inside the Upside Down, where tonight we're going to be talking about the power of crystals and stones. Can they really heal? Coming up next. All right, welcome back to Inside the Upside Down. I'm author and ghost story Mike Ricksecker. With me, as always, is Shana, Shananigator from Edge of the Rabbit Hole, and a fantastic writer herself. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the healing power of crystals and stones, and well, other uses that we can actually use these stones for. All those different metaphysical properties that they have. So, we get a lot of comments and questions about the stones throughout all the shows we've had. Back in the summer, we kind of touched on this in a couple of different ways when we were talking about methods of protection, which was more than just the stones. So I thought that we could take an opportunity here and just do a crystal and stone specific episode. So, because Shauna's got a lot of stuff. She has stocked up since the last time we did one of these shows. And you've got a couple other things here, too. You got like a wand, and I brought some of my little things here that I have, which I'm nowhere near as much stuff as Shana, but... Well,
I blame It's Raining Zen.
It's Raining Zen. There you go.
I do, because if you follow their Facebook page, they're always posting new stuff when it comes in, and...
I like this.
And let me tell you, they've got so many different crystals and just accessories and everything that someone in this field, I guess you would call it, New Age, anybody into the metaphysical. If you need any tools, toys, accessories, or whatever,
it's there.
It's there.
Absolutely. You can even get at Mineral Springs at It's Raining Zen.
Indigo Moon.
Yeah, it's an Indigo Moon. Hot Road Roast. It helps you hunt ghosts. So, yeah, they have everything there.
Everything.
So, Alton, Illinois, Mineral Springs Mall, they call it these days. It's Raining Zen, Indigo Moon, and Mississippi Hippie. So, it's the site of the 2019 Haunted Road Media Paracon, June 1st. So, definitely check it out.
Yep.
So, and since I'm throwing stuff down and saying, okay, we're sponsored by our own stuff, Haunted Road Roast. We also have, just a quick aside, we also have the new beanies, which Shauna's wearing one. So those are available now, the Haunted Road Media shop. It is shop.spreadshirt.com/hauntedroadmedia, or just go to the hauntedroadmedia.com merch section, and you can click on the links in there. It'll take you right to the Spreadshirt site, and you can get all of our cool stuff.
It's pretty warm, and don't let the occasional Midwest day with like 50 degrees fool you, because winter ain't over now, and these are warm.
They're warm. So Katie Palmer, who won her choice of hat, including beanie, you might want that. I don't know. I mean, you might choose one of the other hats. It's up to you. So that was our 10,000 subscriber giveaway. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and do so, because that was a really big payout. She's getting a lot of stuff. So in any case, stones, crystals, you have a wand over here, all the cool witchy stuff. What?
It's Raining Zen also sells these cute little bags.
Yep.
I mean,
I don't have such a cool bag. I got this little canvas thing.
I had a really cool bag, and it was the one that you gave me for the hand fasting ceremony,
right.
And it'd been through it, I guess, and it broke. But I still save it. And but I had to get a new one because I've got too much stuff to not have something to carry it in.
So the big question that a lot of casual viewers or people looking for information about things metaphysical, and maybe they're a little bit new to it, do these things really work? Do they really have some sort of power or healing properties, or what have you? What do you think?
I mean, speaking from personal experience, my interaction with them, and then my interaction with other people who also use them, I can say with 100% certainty that yes, they do work for me. Am I saying that they will work for everybody the same way? No, because not everybody will have the same intent and the same belief in it. Everybody is different. But for those who believe in it, I mean, if I want to say that this mug, which has a lot of tea in it, so I'm not going to lift it too high, but if I want to say this can protect me, if I have that much faith in it, then yeah, maybe it will. You know, I think crystals are the same way, but I will say this about crystals, especially the raw, the untumbled stuff that comes right from the earth, you know, that you dig out with your bare hands, or you know someone has dug out.
That's in this bag.
Yeah. You know, the earth has all this free energy. And anything, there's some wind. Anything that comes from the earth is going to have, you know, that linear energy. Some crystals vibrate higher than other crystals, you know, but they all have some type of energy. And, you know, does this crystal help with this ailment or this, you know, need, this emotional need that you might have? Does it help with this? Does it help with that? You know, some of them might be more beneficial than others, but just a simple piece of quartz could be used for whatever you want to use it for. So.
Yeah, and Sharon Lane has a comment down in here. Even scientists agree that quartz crystals conduct energy. And I mean, that's quartz is in all kinds of electronic components. So, you know, from your watch to your computers. Quartz is in so many different products that you just don't even think about when we take it for granted these days. But you know, this is something that the ancients knew, that the quartz had electric properties or some sort of energetic properties. Maybe they didn't know to call it electricity or anything back then, but they knew it did something. They knew it had some sort of power to be able to manipulate and do different things. And one of the things they used it in, was healing. And there's all kinds of different theories about, you know, possibly being able to use some of these different stones for for moving some of the big megalithic objects from back then. Whether it's true or not, we don't know. The most recent possible example was the guy in Florida back in the 30s who did the Coral Castle, and he never divulged his secret. He said he figured out the secret of the ancients. But there are some kids that say that, you know, he had like these cone-shaped stone or tools that he was using to, you know, be able to manipulate them. And so some people speculate, well, were they possibly made of quartz? You know, what were they actually made of to, you know, give off this apparent vibration to make these things move? So, I mean, that's all speculation, but, there's a lot of ways in which these stones actually do resonate. It's why there's so many of those ancient standing stone sites all over the world, and people, when they walk inside those, they feel that energy. There's no joke about it. You feel it. So there's Tom McNicholas down there with a $5 super chat. I need juju in my mojo.
Zen has a stone for that.
I'm sure. So let's get into some of the stones. We'll get into the collection, and we'll talk about some more different theories and ideas about about the ancients here and what they used different things for.
This I was going to show first because, and I did send him an invite to the event and this show, and I don't know if he's watching tonight or not, but his name is Jacob, and he is a wonderful, beautiful man, and he sings, has a voice like an angel, and he made me this wand many years ago. And when I say many years ago, I mean he used to investigate with us at the cafe. So I wanted to show this one first. And it has a quartz at the end, and he carved it himself. And he says, I don't know what to do with it, so I just made it. And
just randomly made it, huh?
Yeah, because he said he carves, and he said that if asked if anybody had anything they wanted custom made and would anybody want anything like that? And I was like, yeah, I'll take a wand. He was like a witch wand? I was like, well, yeah, what other kind of wand? So he's like, yeah, I can do that. And he says, I didn't do anything to it. I don't know if it has to have some kind of magical stuff on it.
Oh, okay.
He says, so I just made it though. Here you go. And I put a quartz on it. So yeah, I've had that I've had it for about 10 years.
Cool. Very cool.
Very important.
Yeah, and so and a lot of people would say that having the quartz on there, and you can even get into the different types of wood. I don't know what that one's made out of, but a lot of people will say that birch wood, for use with a wand, has different healing properties. Does it say in there?
It used to.
It used to.
Oh wait,
okay.
wait.
Maybe. So
I can't remember.
Bree is wondering, did you get that new one from Zen that you posted the other day?
Which one?
I don't know. You said you posted it the other day from Zen. I don't know.
Oh,
I mean, you're getting stones from there all the time.
Yeah.
So.
if I posted something on Zen that was metaphysical in any way, I got it from there. That's where I get all my stuff. Every single bit of it. Every once in a while, we'll go to an event, a Paracon somewhere, and if I see someone selling some crystals there, I might cheat on Zen a little bit.
She said Fuchsite or something?
Oh, yeah. I haven't been to Zen to buy any yet, but that's on my to-do list the next time I go to Zen, because they just posted that. I didn't know they had any. But it's a good one to add to your arsenal. So...
Yeah, so Charlie Kay said, I have a big purple amethyst geode. She presented me for birthday and Mother's Day. Nice, cool. Yeah, Shana loves amethyst.
Yeah.
I love geodes. Very cool.
Amethyst is a good one.
Yep. Sharon Lane saying wood from willow trees. Okay, yeah, willow trees. And I heard birch in there somewhere too. So, yeah, there's a lot of different ways that these, the stones can help you. Of course, we've talked about protection in the past. So I have a selenite wand here that our friend Missy Nichols gave us, so that just after an investigation, kind of lift some of that energy off you that you may have experienced while on the investigation, and just kind of go over yourself with it.
I have a selenite wand too, but it's actually in my purse. But it's similar to that.
Similar to this, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but you have like the whole collection down here, a couple of pendulums as well.
Yeah.
So, where's your, since quartz was the one that was brought up first, where's your quartz? There you go.
There's one. Here's another little piece. And this is actually...
that's selenite.
That's selenite,
Yeah.
but yeah.
So yeah, so you have a few pieces.
And
down
I have another.
You have
couple.
Just a little bit here. So
I think there's actually some that might have made it to the bottom of my purse. But
now that happens.
Yeah, Bree and I were the last time I went to Zen. I was showing her some of the other ones.
And what are those?
That I got. This is an agate, a bubble gum.
Oh, okay.
Agate, and this one is a pistachio. I just drew a blank. Quick, what is it? It's a pistachio.
It's a pistachio something.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
I basically just got it because of its color. I thought it was pretty.
Yeah. So we have a few questions down here that we'll go ahead and answer here real quick. Whoops. And so first up, this is, I didn't copy who it was from. Was it Judy that asked it? Yeah, Judy Wilson. Do I use any stones, Mike? Because you're, of course, the one that everybody knows for using stones. Do I use any stones? And if so, what for? So, yeah, so I have some black tourmaline here, which is more of a protective stone. I crushed Shauna's during an investigation back in September at the Cheney Mansion. So that video is coming. That's going to be, I think that's part of part 3. So we posted part 1, what was it, last week? And yeah, so that one actually just snapped in half in my hand during that investigation while I was getting what we call the whammy from PD Cheney. So this is the replacement for that. So I mean, there'll be like a couple things that I may take. Okay, that's the quartz from Shana. So protective properties here in the quartz is more of a healing property, and we've told the story before about this, where you just had your eyes closed, and I was looking at it like that's the one, and you picked it out. So that was pretty cool.
The clear quartz will also amp up the properties of anything else that it's with.
Right.
Yeah.
So those are the main ones that I may carry with me. In talking about amping up, so a stone that kind of resonates with me a lot, and that's another interesting thing, is that different stones will resonate with different people, more or less, depending on who you are. And you kind of mentioned that earlier, and I think that has to do with like our frequency, our own resonance within us, the vibration that we are at, for lack of a better term. And so Tiger Eye is one for me. This was a pendulum that was given to me last year, because it was buzzing in my hand, and I've had that happen with Tiger Eye before. And an example is at a fair years ago. Somebody was showing me, kind of the different properties of some of the different stones. They say, here, put a Tiger Eye in your one hand. I was like, okay. So I had it in this hand, and it was buzzing. I was like, okay, yeah, I can feel that. And I can't remember for the life of me what the other stone was. They say, here, put this one in your right hand. So I put that in my right hand, and oh my God, did the Tiger Eye in my left just like was vibrating my entire hand. It was crazy. So there are definitely energetic properties within these stones that you kind of mix and match with your own energy, your own resonance, your own vibration within you to make you found the other half. You sure that's the other half? We were missing the other half. I have one half, and we want to do...
It is, okay. You can...
I'll put it together when we get back in the house, because I have the other half on my desk.
Yeah, you can tell. It's definitely broken.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I've deduced that has to be what it is.
Sorry, I kind of cut off there in the middle of that. So point being, different stones will resonate with different people at different levels. So they definitely have those energetic qualities. This is I mentioned the black tourmaline getting snapped in half in my hand. Mm-hmm. I have half that in the house. We didn't know where the other half of it was, and Shana just found that.
Yeah, and what have we learned? We learned to get thicker tourmaline.
We got thicker.
Yeah.
It's not like it was that small of a piece.
No.
So I guess we'll tell the story real quick. You guys are going to see it on video here in a few weeks. So we're up this is at the Cheney mansion. We're in PD Cheney's bedroom, and according to Carol, she told us this after the fact, that PD doesn't like guys so much. I'm sitting in the chair, and you were sitting in the other chair, but I was just feeling all this like pressure in my head big time. And so Shana gave me black tourmaline to hold, as a protective stone, like we talked about. And I'm just holding it in my hand, and I'm feeling the pressure. And then all of a sudden I hear this crack in my hand. Like, okay, what's going on? Sure enough, we got downstairs. I handed it back to Shana, and it just like fell apart on you. Yeah.
I was like, whoa, looks like another trip to Zen. Karen Whitaker, if she's down there in the chat room still, she can vouch, because she was there for one of our nights, one of our first nights, I believe.
Yeah, Karen Whitaker was there the first time we were there. That one happened the second time that we were there. So we got a couple other questions. We got a number of questions here. So Tom McNicholas asks, is it true that you should never have anyone hold your crystals?
I let people hold my crystals, and I've held crystals from other people. I always have sage with me. Because if you think about it, if you go to New Age stores, a lot of people have handled those crystals and touched them. And if they decided not to take one, then they put it back. So that means not only is their energy on it, but it's also just waiting, for you to pick up. So a lot of New Age stores, I know Zen does it. Whenever you take a stone to them, they will spritz it with sage. Sometimes if they've got time, if it's not super busy, they'll use regular sage, and then they Reiki charge it for you, and then poof, it's yours. So
yeah, and that kind of like, I guess the idea is that it dispels whatever energy that may be attached to it from somebody else, so that you can have it clean.
Right. And like if I gift somebody with a stone, which I've done, I'll sage it first before I give it to them. So, not that I don't trust my energy, but, I don't want anything negative that may be clinging to me transfer over to them. So,
right.
Yeah.
So Dustin Samario was saying that he was also feeling the same thing from P.D. Cheney up in that room. And then Judy Wilson is asking, do you think his energy broke it? In a sense, yeah. In the fact that, it's in my hand. So I don't necessarily think that, he went into my hand to break the stone that was in there. I think it was more of whatever he was doing to me was maybe increasing or maybe amping up my energy, what was flowing through my body at that time. And so I broke it, but it was that amped up energy going through me at the time that actually broke it. So,
which says to me, a black tourmaline, that's what it's for. That's what it does.
It served its purpose. Yeah.
Yeah. It helps to absorb and, dispel negative energy. So if you're using it for that, and then your body is giving up, the stone is literally working with your energy to try to help you out. So if it's just a little bit too much, then yeah.
Then snap. Yeah.
Snap.
So, and that makes a lot of sense. From Betty, what do you do when you retire the stones due to age, me, reducing? It's a good question. I mean, you're not going to use black tourmaline anymore because I think it's run its course.
Yeah, it served its purpose. So, I mean, you could do one of two things. I may keep a stone even if I don't use it. You can also bury it and give it back to the earth. That's where it came from. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
There you go. Yeah.
Give it back.
And maybe being in the earth, maybe it might have a chance to recharge.
Right. So remember where you buried it. If you pluck it out of the ground, feel it. Tune into it. If you don't feel anything, just lay it to rest.
Well, and speaking of recharging, okay, so another thing that you do a lot when it's a full moon and it's not like, 20 degrees or raining or snowing or whatever in the world is doing out there today, you put your stones out to recharge in the moonlight. So what does that do?
And I've been researching it a little bit. Some of them, are flourish better, charge better under the moon. Some of them charge better under the sun. Sun sign stones like tiger's eye or bloodstone or different ones. Just research which ones benefit from. Some of them you can charge using candle magic. Some of them you can charge. There's a lot of ways. Some of them you can use salt. You don't even have to have them in contact with the earth. Some of them you can cleanse just by using regular water. But not all stones are meant to be put underwater or in salt. Right. So again,
some will dissolve on you.
Yeah, you have to do the research. I personally, not so much now with bare feet, but I like to be out on a full moon. There's the moon. The moon really packs a punch with energy. So, and so does the earth. So if you go out under a full moon, put your crystals out there. Let them charge. Take your shoes off. Let your feet come in contact with the earth. Soak up some moon.
Yeah, a lot of people in the chat are saying, like Charlie Kane saying, I recharge mine during a full moon. Dana Gorton also saying moonlight is best. Sharon Lane saying bury them with dignity. And see, Kelly McCarville says, I never had a stone go bad. I just leave them in the moonlight and recharge them. So a lot of interesting feedback here.
Yeah, I've never really had one go bad. That's the first
one
that I've ever had like break.
Yeah, it broke.
Or whatever.
Right.
And so, does that mean that it, there's like half of a piece there, so it's only going to be half as effective? Or is it time to, retire it back to the earth? Or, it definitely did its job. So
it did what it was supposed to do, for sure. So, see, from Robert, would you recommend these as much as standard ghost hunting tools on an investigation?
Well, we've always said that your best tool is your body.
Yep.
Some of these stones, like quartz, I always have on me. I also have quartz on me that I wear every day with the pendant that,
Thank you, Vanessa.
that I got from Vanessa. And, you know, certain stones I just always have with me. A black tourmaline, I have an awful lot of faith in it and its intent to help me process negative energy better, because I'm going to be honest, there's been times whenever I walked into a place with absolutely nothing but myself. No. And it's just not necessarily scary, but it's just the energy is just way too strong with no buffer whatsoever. Dave from It's Raining Zen, you know, said it best, especially in the one area that we were in Mineral Springs, where when I was with him that night, it was like people were just coming out of the walls at you. And it was a race to see who could get out of there the fastest. And I was about ready to mow past him. So, and I would never do that to Dave, but I was about ready to put him in front of me as a shield. It was bad. And then, even then, you know, that same day, and I had some black tourmaline with me, and plus quartz. And I always make sure to have those two on me when I go in there, because you never know. And even being in there with Mike, I still had to duck into a pantry.
You did, yeah.
I did.
I was trying to show you the pantry, like, wow, it's a huge pantry. Wish we had one of these. And you're like, get me out of here.
I like pushed him out, and then in the pantry I went, because then you would think that, you know, that would make, I don't like elevators. They make me feel kind of claustrophobic a little bit, and the fact that I never know if it's going to like snap when I'm on it or whatever.
Right.
But I've been in some pretty tight places too, like caves and like tunnels and stuff like that. So, but just for some reason, you know, I need to have like stuff like closer where I don't feel so wide open in that area up there. Because it just felt like there were just eyes and just people, you know, that I didn't want to make contact with, just really letting me have it. And that pantry seemed like the safest place to be. So I don't even want to know what would have happened if I didn't carry anything with me that day.
Right. The sisters would say, loving the beanie. You look super cute.
Thanks. You could have one too.
You could have one too. Yeah. Just go to our Spreadshirt shop, shop.spreadshirt.com/haunted-road-media, or just go to the haunted-road-media.com site and click into the merch section. You can enter the shop right there and you can get one. So, yeah, so I guess on investigations themselves, we mostly use the stones for protection. Outside of investigations, like a lot of people use the stones for healing. Like if you go to like a lot of psychic fairs, you'll have different people that do different types of healing. And if you have one that does stones, like they'll use the chakra stones, and they'll kind of line your body with the different stones to, you know, perform different types of healing on you. So, have you ever had one of those done?
No, but you remember on the boat were you, let's see, it was me, Chris Sutton was there, Lee was there, Jake was there. So
okay, yeah, so I would have been there, yeah.
The night that they
that was the last time I was there.
That,
yeah.
You know, right over the top of my
right.
head. And,
yeah.
woo, about fell over. I mean,
yeah, and that wasn't using any stones at all. That was just energy.
And I had to shake that one off.
Yeah.
That was kind of, I've never had it done, but I have always wanted to. I'm not adverse. I'm not opposed to it.
Right. And so I don't know if anybody, because we have a lot of people here to do these sorts of things down in the chat. So if anybody down there does that sort of thing, because I haven't had that done either. And I can't remember if it's the stones are supposed to be putting any energy in you, or if they're supposed to be extracting out of you to cleanse your chakras. So if anybody knows down there in the chat, that'd be great. They could comment on that.
This lapis.
Lapis, well, yeah, and I gave you that big ball of lapis that you couldn't keep near the bed.
I couldn't keep near the bed. I was having some very strange, weird dreams. I mean, they were just keeping me up at night. But I went into, per Donna's request, going upstairs at Mineral Springs to use this to open my third eye. You know, and she said stuff might just become a little clearer. Be really, you know, specific about what I'm asking for and listen. So,
Very cool. Donald Gordon saying crystal grizz for chakra cleansing. Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm describing. They kind of line your body and okay, so they're cleansing, probably extracting out. Then is kind of what I was asking.
I have a book on crystal grids.
You have a book on it. There you go.
I
Should have
do.
read it before the show.
When?
So I know, and it's like, yeah, you only have so much time to learn so much, and we cover so many different topics and everything. But we are into all of this. There's no way to know every single little thing.
Yeah, there's some stones that I get that I may not necessarily be looking for. They just find me. Like they call out to me. Like if I'm talking to something and we're touching different things, it's like, whoa, what was that? What was that I felt? And then you reach in and you're like, what's this?
Right. And it just, that one resonated with.
That's what happened. That's what happened with these. My shaman stones.
And what are those?
And I didn't know anything about them. All I know is that I was just kind of, looking. I was looking for something in particular. And then I got distracted by somebody else who was talking about what stone would be good for this, what stone would be good for that. So I was looking at them and talking to them. And meanwhile, I was just kind of running my hands just randomly. And all of a sudden I was like, whoa, what's that? Because it reached out and zapped me. And so I picked them up. And that's what I got. So I asked probably Donna, or it could have been Carly, or maybe even Daniel. I'm not sure, because I know he was there too. And they kind of explain. And so it's been on my to-do list to study them a little more, because like I said, I didn't find them. They just kind of found me. Didn't even know what they did. But there was hagstone.
There you go, hagstone, right?
Yeah. Something I always carry is rose quartz also.
Well,
smoky quartz.
Yeah.
And they have some like hybrids too.
Yeah, you have
really
some different
cool
things down in there. And I will say, since you brought up like investigations, something like, I pointed out earlier, like the pendulum. There are people who still use them on paranormal investigations. You will really not see us use them during investigations, at least on video, because we're putting the videos out there to kind of show our investigations, the evidence that we're capturing, trying to figure out what's going on at a location, or even the kind of the bare basics. Is this place even haunted? Using a pendulum is so subjective that, because I could sit here and just kind of bounce it a little bit with my thumb, and you would never see it, and yet the pendulum will start moving, or use one of my fingers to make it move, or whatever, back and forth different directions. It's very, very easily manipulated. So there's no way to actually put it onto a video and say, oh, look what's going on with the pendulum, without 1,000 people doubting that sort of evidence. So I use it occasionally, in private on your own, because you're not going to lie to yourself on something like that. You're not going to purposely make it move on your own when you're doing your own thing, not filming or what have you. So it's just not one, like dowsing rods. I saw that Robert Hanna asked something about dowsing rods in there. That's another one they can't really put on film. And I have a investigation from the Bel Air house with Copperhead Greg Graham in an older video from Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, where he likes to use those, and that's fine. And I trust Copperhead. I know he's an honest guy, but there's 8 billion other people in this world that don't know him. And so they're going to look at that and be like, he could be manipulating it. Even with the way that he does it, pointing them down, in his theory is that in order for them to move, it would have to be defying gravity, which is great. But and I believe him. He of course is not going to lie to himself. But everybody else looking at that is going to be like, yeah, right, whatever. So we won't present those different things because they're way, way too easily manipulated. Although, I have on my own, been able to use that. Really, it was the first time I ever tried it. I was like, whoa. And even on Spiral Mound, it's like the one video where you'll actually see me. It's a live investigation of Spiral Mound out in Oklahoma. And the pendulum was working on top of the mound.
Yeah, we didn't see that because that particular video showed one shot throughout the whole live.
Well, that was, you want to talk about energy from different stones and sacred sites and stuff. That place there was like proof of it, because we're trying to do a live investigation, and off of the mound, like we're out in the woods and everything, which has all of this cover, and we are kind of out in the middle of nowhere, so it was going to be tough anyway. But we're out in the woods, all this cover, and the broadcast was fine. We go up on top of the mound where there's no tree cover, the elevation is higher, and no, we couldn't broadcast from it. It kept crapping out from on top of the mound. So, it was, that particular mound was not a burial mound, okay? There was a former burial mound which had been looted back in the 30s, and we did not go on top of that. But they have a path up to this mound that had been the previous... it was a temple site. They used to have a temple on top of that mound, so the natives would go up there and worship. And so it makes you wonder, okay, what did they make this mound out of? What is the the crystal or stone components of that to make it react as such, where it was interfering with the phone signal? So, yeah, that was interesting. I mean, we know there's some sort of stone in there, just not sure what.
I don't ever use mine, but I have some really pretty ones. Sometimes they say, like, if you lose something, only one time have I successfully... I was trying to find... I had lost something, right? Mm-hmm. And I was trying to find it. Couldn't find it. So somebody said, well... draw like a layout of your house and use the pendulum over the rooms to see, and whichever one, whatever. So I did that, and one time I was successfully able to. I was like, "There is no way this worked," but it did. I found in a place that I really wouldn't have thought to look for what I'd lost, but that's like the only time I've ever really used my pendulum. Yeah. Other than that, they're pretty and they have, stones that I would use. So a lot of times I'll just, carry it.
Yeah. Sharon Lane saying personal use is great because you don't have to prove it. Yep. Yeah. And for something like that, you don't have to prove to anybody, and you're not going to lie to yourself. And you had a time where it actually worked for you. So, So there you go. So Betty asked, actually, Donna Gordon had a question before that. I'll get to yours in a second, Betty. Donna asked, Shana, do you ever use sigils for protection?
I've never. I know people that do. I've personally never really looked into it. I know of them. I've just never used it.
On occasion, this is a gift from my mother. So in my little bag that I may carry on rare occasions, along with the, like how it's black and white, right? Mm-hmm. So black tourmaline, the quartz. And I do have a St. Michael medallion. So I know Donna probably doesn't. Like, St. Michael. Yeah, St. Michael. I was named for St. Michael. So do I believe it brings some sort of protection? Maybe a little bit. As long as you have that belief, that faith in it, then it'll work for you. And so on occasion, I'll bring that depending on where we're going. Yeah. So then we'll get to Betty's question here. Do you believe in crystal balls having power in reading like tarot cards? Interesting question.
I mean, it's...
Well, it's a crystal.
Yeah.
So... I'll say this. I mean, I just recently started doing tarot here on my own a little bit. And so this story is from several years ago. It was actually at that same psychic fair where I had the tiger eye in the hand. But they had these crystal skulls. And it was interesting. I mean, they were big too. They were like this freaking big, and they had like their own names, and they were supposed to be from however far back in the past or whatever. And you kind of wondered, how much of the story was just was hokey and how much of it may have been true. But this one was supposed to be like thousands of years old. Put your hand on it. and see if you get anything. And you did feel some vibration in the hand, and I did get like some flashes of different sayings in my head that were basically, and I can't remember verbatim what they were, but if there really was some sort of supernatural entity or something attached to that was sending these messages in my head, it was basically calling me out. Maybe that's because I was a bit younger and a bit more naive, and so I was basically thinking that I was kind of presumptuous and kind of like a "who do you think you are" sort of thing. Like, okay, so there was something going on with that crystal skull. So I wasn't doing a tarot reading or anything like that, but there is some power within those large crystals like that.
I think it's also like, I don't do it personally, but like people to read tea leaves, or people to read runes, or people that use whatever object you're using to divine, thoughts or messages or whatever. That's why couldn't a crystal ball, why couldn't whoever was using it, maybe that's what works for them when other things don't. Is it going to always be the truth? Depends on who they are.
Right.
Depends on if you trust them. Depends on, if they know you, if they've had any chance to research you before you get to them. It all depends. It's all about trust.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's Justin Brown, Interface Death, down in the chat. So, Justin, we just had Ben Radford on during Edge of the Rabbit Hole. You'll have to check it out. So, Justin says, crystals, rods, pendulums are all tools to focus psychic ability, in my opinion. Pretty much anything that can be used to heal, cleanse, and protect, if that's your intent. So, yeah. It really has to go with intent. Yep.
I agree.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's, we always talk about how our biggest tool within this field is ourselves, our bodies, our person. And so these are really just extensions of that, tools, to help, amplify or cleanse or whatever it is that, we're trying to do, whatever that intent is. I wonder, okay, so we say black stones, black tourmaline, that's a protective stone. That's kind of what's been ingrained into us. So is it a protective stone for us because that's what we believe? And if somebody else thought that, this was a healing stone, not a protective stone, that would it then be a healing stone for them and not a protective stone?
Well, one could also say that for something that banishes negative or helps dispel it, that can also help heal. Well,
yeah, you could make that. So maybe healing wasn't but something else, some other sort of ability.
Yeah, like grab a stone that's used like in money spells, like prosperity.
Like something that, okay, there you go, prosperity. Like, okay, you're going to hold the stone and you're going to be more prosperous.
Yeah, or grab a stone that has absolutely nothing, to do with whatever it is you want to use it for. Can you program your brain with the right intent and the right amount of faith? You could go pick up a rock out in the parking lot, and it may not have any, anything attached to it at all. But through the power of your own mind and your own faith, can it become that?
No, I mean, they came from somewhere.
Yeah.
It is a rock after all. But yeah, it has to do intent. And so we've kind of, we've assigned these properties over the year because I think, as you go back into time, as you go back into ancient history and the peoples that, first began using these stones and recognized that they had different properties about them, I think that they began to experiment and discover, well, this stone, for me at least, does these different things for me. And this other stone does these other different things for me. And so, over time, I think they started, teaching the others, like, okay, this is what this stone does because this is what I've experienced. This is what this stone does because this is what I've experienced. And the others are like, okay, cool. Well, I'll try it for that. And I think that's kind of how we've been, I've taken a lot of these different things, although I still think some of them have different, true physical properties, like quartz, how we use in electronics and everything these days. So, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, you can either believe, what it does for somebody else, or you can branch out and figure it out. Let's do an experiment and grab this stone that says that this is what it does, and then grab this stone that, or just randomly pick one and don't even research. I don't even know what this stone does. But then tell yourself, if I have this with me, I'm going to feel, this emotion, or it's going to stop, this from happening, or whatever. Give it a try. See what happens.
Kathy still answered. They got in a little bit of a discussion about mirrors down there. It says, many moons ago, Robert, they used mirrors in very dark rooms and sat there for hours to try to communicate with the dead. They say it took hours. Most time it worked. Forget what they call it. Is she talking about scrying?
Didn't I sent you a link about something with the mirrors too? Remember that link?
Oh, that one. Is that the same thing?
Because it could be that too. I don't know. It's something different. It's the use of mirrors to communicate with
the use of mirrors.
It starts with a P.
Yeah. I probably still have it here because it wasn't that long ago that you sent it to me. Mirrors, there's a lot of different lore with mirrors. So, like when people passed away, they would cover the mirrors and things like that. No, it's just up here, not too far. And this is totally bad airtime here. Is Mike Psychomantium, ancient tool for contacting the dead. It's making breakthroughs in paranormal investigations.
It's going to be a topic one day.
Yeah, we'll talk about that because we're going to check that out, see exactly what that was. I mean, you sent it to me. I kind of breezed through it real quick, and so yeah, we'll take another look at that. Donna Gordon, shouldn't do spells to serve you like money spells, etc. Too self-serving is bad juju. Yep. So absolutely. And there's Justin right there. Psychomantium. Yep. Yeah, Donna, Psychomantium rooms. Yep. So they all had it. Then B3 Airspace talked about scrying up there. So but no, not scrying. Okay, Psychomantiums. Thank you.
I want to talk about it and I want to do it.
All right. We'll have to check that out. All right. Oh my God, Adam Tillery. You know what Gary Drayton calls them crystals? Bobby Dazzlers.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, Adam Tillery, I got a bigger Bobby Dazzler for you than Gary Drayton does.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so Oak Island stuff. Okay. Earlier this year, Adam, remember, they dug up that pendant that had that garnet in it. Got to go to the Moorfield Mine in Virginia whenever they're open. Their schedule's kind of weird. Because, I'm talking about some garnet. How about that for some garnet? I don't know how well you guys can see that. That is, here. I don't know if you can see how thick it is. Yeah, that is a massive piece of garnet. Moorfield Mine. You want to talk about luck? But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's just called out to me. So their main thing there at Moorfield is the Amazonite. So it's a green stone like that.
It's pretty.
It is. It's really nice. That is their main quarry there. But they get a lot of amethyst and citrine and things like that. Some garnet as well. Williamsonite and apatite. I found the actual very first apatite crystal ever there. They bought it off me, and I've regretted selling it to them ever since. But you can go there and do your own quote-unquote mining. They have like this big pile of offshoot stuff. So as they're mining, this is all the crap that's left over. But there are some actual gemstones mixed in there that, of course, they didn't. They don't catch everything. So you can go there. I think it was like $15 a person, but this was like 15 years ago. And a little less than 15 years ago. And they have the sluice boxes all set up, so you can go there and sluice your own stones and pull out your own crystals and all that stuff. You can load up as many buckets as you want that you can haul away. So it's very, very cool, and that's where that guy came from. So there we go. I was actually hoping he was going to say something. I'm serious. I was hoping Adam Tillery was going to say something so I could show that piece of art. I was gunning for that, and it happened. I'm done. I'm satisfied now. Let's go have chocolate.
I ate mine.
Did you eat that whole thing?
I ate that whole thing.
Oh my God.
I needed it.
King size Kit Kat?
Yeah, I needed it. I did.
Wow. Okay. Let's see what you guys are saying down here. We got a little off topic, but that's a Bobby Dazzler for dang sure. Per Robert, do you feel a devil's box is dangerous to use? I mean, it depends on your intent. Again, it all comes down to intent.
Don't think it's dangerous just because Zach says it is.
Right. What I would do in a case like that, kind of like the same with the Ouija board, something that I don't. I've used a couple times. I don't know all the use and functionality of it, and so some people will say, well, you can use it however way you want, but I've heard too many horror stories with something like that where they're goofing around, they don't really understand. Usually it's kids, they're goofing around, they don't really understand, and so they invite something in that they weren't aware of, and they don't know what the hell they're doing. They really don't. And so something like a Ouija board, something like a devil's box, I would want to do some research first before actually seriously trying to use it and trying to communicate or do whatever with it. I usually toss out as an example that we communicate with spirits just like you would with any of those with an audio recorder. I know how to use that. You press a button and you listen. The other stuff, I've heard some horror stories, but I've also heard people that know how to use them properly and actually get some good responses and get some good conversations going. So I'm open to the idea. I just want to be safe first.
Right.
Yeah. So B3 Aerospace is now hungry again after that. And Donna Gordon says Kit Kats do real. We like the dark Twixes.
Oh, dark Twix is so good.
Yep. They're fantastic.
So good. The triple dark one is not.
No, we tried the triple dark, and it's just... Well, they use milk chocolate, not the dark chocolate. I bet it would have been better with the dark chocolate.
Yeah, whoever thought the too much chocolate would be enough? But in this case, it was just not good. So the regular Twix dark chocolate, that's my favorite.
Yeah. So I do have a question. If the Sisters Wood are still down in there, if they make those boxes, I know they make the Ouija boards. So I'd be interested to see if you guys actually make those. Now they're all talking dark chocolate and
gosh. Dark chocolate and some hot dandelion tea with raw honey from Zen and
yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
We do have an actual question down in here that's not food from Debbie 08. What audio recorder do you use? Since we're off topic anyway.
I just use a Sony.
It's just a Sony digital audio recorder. So, ours are different models, but they're both Sonys.
Mine's been through it.
Yours has been through it. I had to replace mine a couple years ago.
I should have had to replace mine. And I probably told the story, but I'm going to tell it again. And I was...
They want Hutter Road Media chocolate. We have mentioned that before.
Yeah. I used to work for the archaeology department, and I used to clean all of their buildings, right? And they knew that low-key I was going to take a recorder with me and investigate all the buildings, too. That was our chance to do it. So, and then there was the one time that we were cleaning building, and Rita was with me. And I just got done mopping. And we were talking about something. And somebody standing there with us smacked my hand hard, and you could hear it, and it, oh my God, it was just like pow. And so it shocked me, and so instantly I opened my hand, and my Sony recorder fell into a dirty mop bucket of water. And it was so like mud and or dust and dirt and water and Fabuloso, the cleaner.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And so I was like, oh my God. So I went in there. And so, I mean, we made it home in record time. And I got that thing, you know, I was taking it apart on the way. And I got the battery out and put it to the side. And then I filled up a baggie full of rice. And I stuck all of the parts on there, shoved some rice on it. And I just lit a little candle. Please, Sony, please don't die. Don't die. You know, I have important stuff to do this week. I'm not going to get out to be able to get another one because Campsville is not exactly civilized. So the nearest place to get another audio recorder at that point was like 40 minutes away. Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's the same here, though.
Yeah.
And the next day, I opened up the baggie, I took it out, I popped a battery in there. Everything was just fine.
It was all fine.
And I'm telling you, there was water like inside the screen. Like you could see it moving around under there and stuff. I'm like, oh my God. But yeah, so that recorder's been through it and it still functions to this day. And I've had that thing for like 8 years.
Nice. Nice.
Well, actually longer than that. So yeah, it's indestructible.
There's a lot of people down in the chat making comments about the Ouija board. They've sworn off them, done it once or twice, won't do it again, et cetera, et cetera. I had an interesting question come up since you guys are talking about it a little bit more. I had an interesting question come up about a month and a half ago. It was for a project that didn't happen. It's an interview that I did for it was for a show where they're comparing and contrasting real paranormal versus Hollywood. I guess they got down to their cutoff for where they were going to stop production, and they had to eliminate the rest of the people that they're going to do interviews with. Andrea Perron's going to be on it, though. So in any case, one of the questions that they had asked me was what I thought about paranormal activity and these movies that are being filmed where they're going into haunted locations, they're using different things like Ouija boards, I mean they're acting, but does that actually entice paranormal activity to actually happen when they're doing these different things at these locations? And it was like, yeah, I think a lot of times when even though they're trying to act out a role, how do the spirits know that you're putting all these different things out there? You might be at a haunted location. You might not even be at a haunted location, but you're using something like a Ouija board in your movie, and you're pretending to play around with it. How does the spirit know that you're just pretending? And so you're inviting these different things in just that type of a setting. So I thought that was a really interesting question, and it was like, yeah, that I believe that can happen in a lot of these different types of movies that use these different things. And so I think even with the crystals, if they're using the crystals in the show or movie or whatever it is, that it will still have that kind of effect, because that's what even though you're acting, it's still kind of the intent. Or if there's a spirit nearby, how do they know?
I think just to be on the safe side, off camera, they should have somebody there to just make sure, hey, sage the area, be like, okay, now whatever's listening, they didn't mean it. Don't follow, don't do this, don't cause that, don't do any of that. There needs to be somebody in the know that's not a part, of the whole acting and thing like that does know how that kind of stuff works and does know what the consequences are, to make sure that there's some extra precaution taken.
Yeah. Sharon Lane saying, think about all the things reported on movie sets. Yeah, there's a lot. We had Kyle Mecca and Erin Marie Hogan on here before from the movie Dwelling. And so they kind of related some of their experiences that they had on set. Part of it was at a hospital that had been haunted, has been torn down since. But the house that they filmed at, and I guess especially the barn in the back, which they didn't really use during filming, was haunted as well. And so they had a lot of experiences, as they're doing the movie, in relation to that. But yeah, so I mean, they were talking some interesting stuff. Of course, the little girl from Poltergeist got brought up and all that stuff. So there was a question up here from Kathy Ciliento, were we talking about the big box? Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier. So, The Omen had major bad luck from Sharon. Yeah, a lot of those different movies have had, either some bad luck or some different activity happen during filming, and so it's you're inviting it in, even though you're just, acting. Mm-hmm. It's still inviting all that stuff in. So, it might behoove some of them to actually use some of them or carry some of these crystals and stones with them as they're doing this. Oh, I wanted to throw something past you. So we're at It's Raining Zin, and we're looking for an obsidian skull. Mm-hmm. It's the obsidian one. And they had the onyx. Like, what's the difference? Because they're both black. But why specifically the obsidian? Do you remember?
He didn't say.
He didn't say. But specific.
The one they specifically
had
wanted.
to specifically be obsidian.
And I'd said, there's other black, does it have to be obsidian? He said, yeah. So personal preference from the person that wanted it, I guess. I don't know. Yeah.
But one's a stone, one's volcanic glass. So, which that volcanic glass is sharper than any metal. It's crazy. It really is. And Donna, if they aren't approaching things with respect to open doors, better left closed. Yep, absolutely. So Betty Ling, since cars are made from metal, can it shield you when you name it? I don't know. I mean, I haven't named my car over here, but she's done me well. Okay. Now here's something interesting.
I named your drone.
You named my drone, yeah.
I did. I named his drone.
You named my drone.
Drusilla.
Yes. But there is something to be said for all of that. I was actually watching the other night. This Missing Links with Greg Braden. This was on Gaia, and so he was talking about. He's doing a lot with mirrors, and not just like physical mirrors, but like a reflective reality. And he actually used an example of him and his car from like years back, 300,000 miles, like mine, and like for him, it worked perfectly. There was like some sort of symbiotic something that was going on with him in the car, but other people who would drive it would have issues. And so, it's just kind of made me think. I've had, is there like this, energetic connection with this car that has been able to hold up for all this time, where if somebody else had it, then maybe, it's interesting. And he was talking about some interesting things. Like he talked about a cancer that his mother had, but where it was first noticed was the dog. Where the dog had like some different issues, some different cancerous lesions and things like that going on, or there were some issues going on with black spots or something like that. But then the mother had issues, so they couldn't take care of the dog. They took care of the mother, and there was some sort of surgery that she had years ago where the scar tissue had turned cancerous. So they removed that, and she was fine. She was okay and hasn't had any problems since. But then following up, he asked about the dog. Hey, what's going on with the dog? Dog was fine after that. So it was like the dog was reflecting what was going on with the mother. Interesting stuff.
Sympathy pains.
Yeah.
Sympathy energy.
Yeah, but we're talking about energy and energy transference with stones and crystals and all that, but it's between people. It's between, people and animals, people in, like my car. I mean, stuff in your life. It's like everything in the world. It's how we're all connected together. And so these are tools that we were able to use within this world. And so I'm not necessarily saying I'm going to have a relationship with my, my black tourmaline, but, there was certainly something going on when the one broke in my hand, there was definitely energy transference there.
Yeah, like there's certain stones that no matter what, I always gravitate to more than others. I know that would probably be more beneficial. I take Shananigator with me all the time. I also carry jet with me a lot, per Vanessa, who says that I should carry that one. Yeah, there's some of them I do more than others. There's others I have never used. They've just always sat in the bag. You know, I figure, you know, they called out to me for some reason or other, and one day, whatever they were calling out to me for, that will happen, and I'll use it for that.
There you go. There you go. And Candy's saying it's like the dog I had that sensed my seizures before I knew they were calling an energy connection. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, and for you, sometimes the stones call out to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's that connection, that energy connection that you have with that particular stone.
Yep, that's how I pick every single one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though I'm going with intent to pick a certain one, I don't just look to them and be like, oh, I like that one because of the color. I like that one because of the way it's shaped. Or I pour them out in my hand. Or if I don't have time, or the room, the space, then I'll like just close my eyes and just wander around inside the dish. Or sometimes I'll ask you if you want space to spread them out. They'll find you a spot that's in. Doesn't matter what's going on. If that's what you want, if that's what you need to spread them out, they'll give it to you, and they'll find you a little space, and you can spread them out and run your hands over them. And you know, I always, without fail, that's how I pick my stones.
Well, and that's how you found this one. Excuse me. You had closed your eyes, and you're running your hand along the stones within the cup, and you're kind of fishing around in there a little bit and all that. I'm kind of above you, and I saw this sitting there. And to me, I'm looking at it, and I'm like, that's the one. It's like calling out to me, but yet there still had to be something, some sort of communication where when you because you do that where you're like, okay, I'm feeling for whatever the right one is. You're feeling for that buzz or whatever it is that you just know this is it.
Mm-hmm.
And you got that from this. So I'm basically, it's calling out to me, but yet you're still feeling the energy that, I don't know, maybe the energy from this calling out to me that you picked up on. You're like, okay, that's the one.
Because I originally passed over it.
Right.
I was like, and then all of a sudden, there it was.
Yeah. So, and then Donna was saying, where is it? Like, if a stone breaks in your hand, it's given up its energy life for you. It died from absorbing too much. Yeah, but that was the energy transference there.
I believe that.
Yeah, yeah, that was energy transference right there. So, absolutely. And somebody was saying, from Bree Shana, who says I should carry jet. Thank you, Shana.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we're past the hour mark. So we do this. We do this on this show. We go a bit later. It is the after hours show. I don't know. Is there anything else that we need to cover here with the stones? We've covered a lot of different topics here. So.
I'm good.
All right.
I think.
All right. Very cool. All right. So let's go ahead and get to the shout outs and do all that cool stuff. Super chat superstars. Tom McNicholas says, I need juju in my mojo. Very cool. All right. So, Donna Gordon, thank you for Cheshire catting in the chat. We appreciate that. So, Mad Hatter's in the house this evening. Wonder Warlock is saying boo. Well, you know, it's getting cold in here.
Who's
we got to go.
Wonder Warlock? Is that a new one?
Oh, it's been around a couple of weeks. Sisters Wood wants to talk about chocolate again.
There is never a bad time to have or discuss chocolate.
True enough. Or eat it.
I just posted a meme on my wall. Or on my wall that said, chocolate doesn't ask silly questions. Chocolate just understands.
This is, to me, this is ecstasy right here. Aside from Shana, this is divine. I'll stop there. So, dark chocolate, blueberries together, chased by coffee. I could just...
It doesn't have that effect on me, the coffee. But dark chocolate. Also, Republic of Tea, its Raining Zen, has chocolate-covered strawberry coffee.
They do.
Tea,
They do.
tea.
That's
No,
it's tea. It's tea. But yeah.
They also have banana and chocolate and red velvet and
See, look, that Kathy Cilianto says perfect, Mike. The Sisters Wood says yum. See? They know what I'm talking about. They know what I'm talking about. All right. So Betty Lange says maybe have an hour how food can give us experience in the unknown realm. Nice. Yeah. Well, there is a thing with chocolate, and after doing a paranormal investigation where it has to do with the pineal gland, and it just kind of refreshes you. It helps. So
it's a must after
like
every
Professor Lupin says, eat the chocolate. It does. It helps.
After every show, after every investigation, except for I ate my king size Kit Kat first before the show. So.
And Wonder Warlock says, I do blackberry brandy with coffee. Interesting. Tim Schoen, Haunted Road Roast. It helps you hunt ghosts. Yeah, it does. It does. All right. So let's get to the shout outs here. So we have April M. Wimigwans. Thanks for joining us again tonight. Bree Jones, thank you as well. There's B3 Airspace. Almost having this list. I mean, Candy showed me how to do this list, but it almost goes too quickly. Betty Lange, thanks for joining us again. There's Candy right there, of course. Kathy Ciliento, Debbie 08, thank you as well. There's Donna Gordon, who I gave the Cheshire Cat shout out to, of course. Destin Samario, new Deep Down the Rabbit Hole Patreon patron. So that's Tom McNicholas, B3 Aerospace, Zippy Davis, BD Flint, Pamela Queen, Joe Chandler, Andrew Cox, and now Dustin Samaro, Deep Down the Rabbit Hole Patreon patrons. And you can check, of course, there's all kinds of different tiers of those Patreon levels. You can check us out, patreon.com/HauntedRoadMedia.
And you'll get to see some cool behind the scenes footage, some stuff that I wouldn't personally put out there. But
Shana doing some goofy stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Buzz, buzz, buzz.
Shut up.
And there's Q&As out there, some little blogs on occasion and stuff like that. There's extra stuff. General All Rogue 7, thanks for joining us tonight. Katie Palmer, our big 10,000 subscriber winner. Awesome. Thank you again. Pat Kraft, thank you very much. Robert Hanna, thanks for the questions. Sharon Lane, thank you as always. The Haglin, thank you as well. There's the Sisters Wood. Thank you guys very much for joining us tonight. Tom McNicholas, thanks for joining us as well. Tim Schoen, thank you too. Tracy Christian, of course, and Wonder Warlock. So thank all of you for joining us this evening. And there's a late, there's a $5 super chat from Bree Jones. Canadian $5 says, my favorite show yet. Thanks, guys. Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm happy you enjoyed this one. So please be sure, everybody, to share it out. Share it out everywhere. All right, everybody. So you guys have a great night. There's all kinds of... they're going on food and all the... Okay. All right. If you haven't yet, please go ahead and subscribe. We love you all. So next week, Edge of the Rabbit Hole, Carl Johnson.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about his demonology handbook. So that'll be really interesting. Check it out. Till next time. If I can find the button. There's